An artificial blood cryopreserver. They must have begun preparatory freezing.
What do you mean?
That device is filled with synthetic blood plasma. It can slow the metabolism of a harvested organ, circulating this plasma to sustain oxygen levels. You can preserve an arm, a brain, any body part for several hours.
So what are they freezing, and why?
I could not say. Perhaps they plan to sell off the organs of the children they were told to dispose of.
Unbelievable.
You had best hurry, Raiden.
Right. Any luck finding George?
No. I encountered the Maverick agents sent for him, but they had no additional information. You had best hurry, Raiden.
Right.
So, World Marshal was Desperado's benefactor all along, No wonder they were able to deploy cyborgs in such numbers against you.
If they'd already started putting those kids through VR training, is it possible I'm actually fighting some of them here?
From the sound of things, the VR program had only just gotten underway. The brain can only process so much stimuli at once. You can speed up VR training for a UG to some extent, but not for a cyborg. I sincerely doubt they could complete a full training program in such a short time.
Yeah. Most of my training...
Indeed. I suppose you'd...
Yeah. I guess I'd be able to tell if they were children. Kids do fight differently. Any sign of George?
Not yet, no. Our men have split up to camp. You just worry about the kid.
Understood. Anything on George yet?
No. I think maybe they took him away.
Or worse.
Perhaps. He can kill those prisoners any...
Damn it! I knew I should have stayed with him until our guys showed up.
Raiden, the other children are not safe either. That payment may already have been made for all we... They may decide to simply...
Got anything on George?
Not yet.
I could have stayed until someone came to pick him up.
Come on. Who knows what would have happened to the other kids in the meantime? Or even now, for that matter.
You're right. And there's a chance George...
Yeah.
I'd better move. Shit!
Hey, stop right there!
George!
Raiden!
You've heard of chloroform? A potent anesthetic in smaller doses. But breathe too much of it? And adios, muchachos! Break that glass, and I'll blow his brains out! Surrender! Or decide, the needs of the many, or the needs of the few.
Raiden, don't worry about me now.
Quiet, pendejo! Surrender! I won't ask again.
George. Are you sure?
I'm ready. Me life now so precious. Ting, what if we can take this skunt to hell with me?
Cállate!
That's all I needed to hear.
Stop it! Now! I'll kill him, I swear!
investigating a motive. President Hamilton is on his way to the Middle East this morning for his scheduled visit with Pakistani President Farooq Salam. The meeting is viewed as an attempt by the U.S. to strengthen relations amidst a surge of anti-American sentiment in the region.
Yo, me ninja brother!
George, good to see you up and about. How you feeling?
Never better, nah? No pain, no more starve while them hunger space eat, and me never ever feel so awake, nah?
That's because your blood sugar levels are being maintained automatically. Beats the hell out of coffee.
Oh! Me been here you go while I got them scone in the base. Why the rasta you not take me with ya, huh?
Damn it, Doc. Sorry, kid. You'd just be in the way.
Aw.
Besides, I thought you didn't want to be a killer, right?
Me don't, but...
Killing isn't fun and games. Remember that.
Right.
That's all I needed to hear.
It yearns to bathe in the blood of your enemies, but you hold it back.
Yeah, just remember that.
Ryder, what is this, Garnia? You cannot resign!
Sorry, Boris, it's done. Can't have a Maverick employee involved in a corporate raiding now, can we?
You could at least come talk to me.
No. It was time to break away from the old team, Boris. Past time.
You cannot take on Marshall all by yourself.
I won't sit by while they butcher little kids and ship their parts around like meat. It's sick.
It's not all so simple, Ryder. They import those brains legally. For medical purposes. It's all done.
Being legal doesn't make it right.
Ryder,
Hold that thought.
Fuck you, asshole!
I will patrol ahead.
Military cyborg, you are not licensed to operate in this area. You're in violation of state and federal law.
Guess you better arrest me then.
18-3-104.7, threatening a peace officer. Deadly force is authorized.
More classified Patriot information was in that man's holographic memory.
barricades. We will proceed through the buildings. You will follow me.
I trust you do not mind my telling George about you, Raiden.
Could have done without that, Doc. He didn't need to know I was here.
Well, there was no reason to conceal that from him. My intention was not to impugn you. He has a right to know. It's not as if he can simply fly over there and meddle in your affairs.
It's throwing off my emotional balance, Doc. Things like that can negatively impact the mission, you know?
However do you mean? You did the right thing, did you not? There's nothing to be ashamed of. George has the best body we can give him right now. And the rest of the children are also safe. And quite content too, I should add. It was your quick decision-making that saves them, Raiden. George's body will require regular maintenance, not to mention a replacement upon reaching adult age. But the expense is more than worth it.
You planning on signing him up with a PMC? Because that's the only job we're good for, far as I can tell.
Oh, you are quite mistaken there. Just consider it. The power of a machine matched with the nimbleness and creativity of a human. The construction and public works possibilities alone are endless. I saw a news piece on German TV just the other day about a cyborg plumber, in fact. Let's not forget about elder care either. One needs great strength to bathe and care for the bedridden. But it's also very delicate work, if you follow. Not the sort of thing you'd leave to a machine.
Sounds great. So long as we don't start replacing the old folks' bodies too, just because they're old.
A valid concern, yes. I recall reading a comic like that once. An old farmer created a cybernetic body to fight evil military scientists and so on.
Yeah. But can't George do anything besides physical labor, though?
Oh, he has every right to choose another path. If he opts not to take advantage of his body's physical strength, he's free to pursue academia instead. His body provides a completely ideal chemical environment for his brain, after all. I can certainly see how that would prove handy in the realm of higher education. The only problem would be how to cover the costs. The issue of student loan debt in the US is thorny enough already, even for normal students.
Yeah. All this stuff's not just George's problem, though. All the other brains I'm gonna rescue will have to deal with it, too. Giving them bodies won't be the end of their problems. It'll be the beginning.
Indeed. On a happier note, though, excellent work in bringing George's lower body back. Now he'll very likely be able to produce children in the future. Bravo!
Your earlier actions were reckless, Raiden. Not to mention the damage to a perfectly good car.
I knew the risks when I decided to go through with this. Besides, the car was mine. Maverick sold it to me. It's not meant for private use. It was made for ops like this.
Regardless, your approach has proven most antagonistic. You are now a criminal, a public enemy, a police-killing vigilante. Even if your actions reveal World Marshal's designs, you will be unable to avoid legal punishment.
Probably not. But that's a price I'll have to pay. I gotta stop that VR program and get those kids back. I sealed my fate the second I attacked George.
But George is not dead. In fact, he has obtained an even more versatile body than his previous one.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me. I was a child soldier in Liberia, like Miss Trawl said. I was a mentally deranged child. People feared me, called me Jack the Ripper.
A result of the so-called Sears program.
I thought I'd left it all in the past. But just like that, Jack came roaring back.
This is why you are so driven to terminate the VR training. I understand. I will continue to cooperate.
Copy that.
setting goal markers on your Soliton radar. Use them to follow me through this area.
Good boy.
I will ignore the condescension and take that as a compliment. You are welcome.
I trust you're not still upset, Raiden.
About telling George about me? Look, let's just drop it, okay?
Gladly. I'm just glad I was able to assist you in operating the cryopreserver anyway.
I know, Doc.
Not that it's so difficult. With that pipe, you simply immerse the organs in the artificial plasma inside.
Yeah? I wouldn't think it was so easy to keep organs alive. How's it work, anyway?
Oh, it's quite simple, really. It uses chilled nanomachine-infused artificial plasma. That suppresses the metabolism and regulates the oxygen intake of whatever is stored inside. The nanomachines are fully self-pumping. Once hemoglobin is detected in the local environment, they release a flow of plasma into the organ where the body's original plasma is still present. When George's body was inserted into the storage cabin, artificial blood, chilled nearly to freezing point, automatically flowed in at the points of amputation. This dropped the internal temperature of the parts from 36 to 10 degrees centigrade. The result? The effective suppression of all metabolic activity. The plasma was also fine-tuned to keep the SpO2 level inside the organs at 90% or above. The synergetic effect of all this allowed the brain to reach the regenerative treatment facility quickly, before any cell tissue was damaged at least. A most effective device, I must say. A micro gas turbine engine enables it to operate completely autonomously as a standalone unit. Would have been tough to lug over to the hospital otherwise.
Truly state-of-the-art indeed. I suspect it cost as much as a well-stocked emergency ambulance.
At the risk of speaking inappropriately, this group certainly knows how to use its budget.
Guess I should be glad these guys have got so much money to throw around.
Don't be designated for heightened security. Found it. Bullseye! Get off! This way!
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. This is your choice. Here comes more of this.
Remember now, Raiden. Left hands. Recover as many as you can.
I got it, Doc. I got it. I'll bring back all the flash memory you can handle.
Holographic memory. It's very different from standard semiconductor memory, you know.
Yeah. But it's still solid-state storage, right?
Well, yes, but they are perhaps more different than they are similar. Holographic memory utilizes the same optical interference that holograms rely upon.
Right. That images used to appear 3D.
Traditional media reads and writes bits on a two-dimensional surface in linear fashion. Holographic memory, however, does this in 3 dimensions, using light at different angles.
And that gives you... what?
Speed. It can read over a gigabit of data in a second. And capacity. A 2-inch square cube of lithium niobate crystal can store 4 terabytes of data. It is also highly resilient against data loss caused by damage to any part of its media. This is because the bit information is not localized, but used as an optical diffractor across the medium. For battle data, there is no better type of storage.
Beats having a hard drive clacking away inside your arm anyway.
Indeed. Spinning media. Hard to imagine we ever put up with such nonsense.
So, how much do you know about how Desperados operated?
I was at the lowest possible tier of information disclosure, beneath standard contractors. As it was explained to me, contractors need at least some information divulged to them. I did not. As a machine, I had no contract and no rights. I was kept in the dark. My knowledge is no deeper than what is already generally known throughout the industry.
Couldn't you hack into their network or something? You're an AI.
Perhaps, if I had free access to a computer. Also, hands. Those are necessary to operate a keyboard.
Yeah, but you are a computer.
It is not so simple. There are protocol issues. Neural AIs are far closer in structure to the human brain than standard von Neumann architecture computers.
Well, I would have tried anyway. Did you have contact with anyone besides Mistral?
I engaged in tandem field operations with Sam on several occasions. However, he was even more difficult for me to comprehend than Mistral.
I bet.
Raiden, what's your status?
They trashed my car. I'll have to go the rest of the way on foot.
Do you really have to do this?
Look, I'm fed up with all of it. Companies like ours, yours, bend the laws when it suits business. Why not bend it when it can save innocent lives?
Raiden.
Boris, listen to me. That VR training, they'll be warped into killing machines. They'll be set on POWs, civilians. It'll be one atrocity after another.
Like what you went through.
We can't have any more Jack the Rippers. You saw what happened with George. I'm doing this, Boris. I have to. I can't save those kids from becoming cyborgs, but I can stop them from becoming murderers.
Say you succeed. So you get all the brains back. Then what?
Just so happens I know un great cybernetic surgeon.
Doctor. But he cannot.
You won't change my mind, Boris. This is my fight now.
And your wife and son? What of them?
They're in New Zealand. Safe. Rose would understand why I have to do this.
All right, damn you. You do realize Marshall has the contract for law enforcement throughout the city. They are the law in Denver.
Yeah, we've met.
Well then. Officially, Maverick Incorporated condemns you and your actions as unlawful. And a pain in the asshole. Now, increase your codec encryption. Do not worry about the lag.
And unofficially?
I'll do all I can over the codec to help. I do not like what those Mudaki are doing any more than you.
Spasiba, товарищ. Spasiba.
tovarich.
Boris, I want to check how raising the codec encryption level affects transmission.
Copy. Reading you 5, Raiden. You?
Loud and clear. I'm seeing a reduction in peak power when sending. We're on a broader direct sequence spread spectrum?
Da. Frequency hopping pattern changed to blue 1.
Copy.
Interference still appears below process gain, too. Hell of a system. Worth every dollar. What is your processing load?
I pinged HQ data storage with my tactical data line. The increase in latency is below 5%.
Хорошо. In that case, it will not affect mission. Our system is just one notch below toughest security available. Denver police cannot see we are even transmitting at all. All our communication is perfectly safe.
Copy that.
Jesus, Raiden, this is a little over the top. I mean, I've seen you pull some shit before, but this, it...
You should know me better than that by now, Kev.
I thought I did. Look, I know there's no legal way to stop World Marshal, but there has got to be an alternative to going on a rampage smack dab in the center of Denver.
No alternatives, Kev. I'm getting those kids out.
Raiden, that VR training, it's like what you did in Liberia?
Judging by what Sundowner said in Mexico, yeah. That scientist called it the Sears program.
After ex-President George Sears, a.k.a. Solidus Snake.
Yep. Ironic that kid shares his name. Solidus trained child soldiers in Liberia while working as a CIA paramilitary. It's not a happy memory. All the drugs, the non-stop violence, it destroyed my sense of judgment completely. I was made to kill soldiers, POWs, civilians.
Raiden.
The next thing I know, Jack's back. I thought it was all in the past, but there I am, attacking a child.
You didn't have any other choice. Other kids would have died.
That's not the problem. I lost my cool back there. All I could do was think how much I wanted that guy dead.
A lot of us would have done the same.
Even if it meant killing George?
He's not dead, though. Actually, he really digs his new body.
Either way, I'm shutting this program down. Maybe they've got it better than me. They don't actually have to kill anyone in reality. But they're still going through the motions, having it pumped straight into their senses, just like real life.
All right. Just give me a call if there's anything I can do.
Sure. Raiden out.
I heard what happened, Raiden. I don't know if I can offer much help, but at least I'm still here to save your data, okay?
Thanks. If things get bad, go ahead and delete it.
If worse comes to worse, I'll do it. But we're on an encrypted line, so we should be okay. Did you want to save? By the way, what did Boris mean when he said those brains were for medical purposes?
They're not just spare parts. Legally, they have human rights. They just don't have bodies. They aren't covered under the Arms Trade Treaty. They can even be legally adopted.
Adopted? They're brains.
Not as the law sees it. These are street kids after all. Most of them have no ID or papers whatsoever. Local mobs gather these kids up, declare them for adoption, and then send them off to a U.S. medical facility for treatment.
So you're saying Desperado didn't actually buy those kids? Directly, at least?
They're not stupid. Just evil. The basic idea is that the Mafia has these orphaned kids, and Desperado pulled their brains, right? Now they need treatment, so the Mafia sends them to the medical facility to get them new bodies.
A World Marshal medical facility.
One that only exists on paper. Once the brains cross the border, next stop is World Marshal HQ. The plan is to put them into factory bodies and assemble the cyborgs here in Denver.
Pretty convoluted process.
If there's a silver lining to all this, it's that the first brains only shipped a month ago. Doc confirmed that in the data he's collected. You can speed up the VR training process for AIs, but not with human beings. So it's likely none of the kids have completed training yet.
Thank God.
That training, though. Sorry. I should get back. We can talk later. So how long can George use that medical body he's in right now?
Well, the body's full shelf life has yet to be proven, but with regular maintenance, I would imagine 10 years or more. However, this is also a child's model. It will need to be replaced as he grows mentally and emotionally. But things have come together pretty well overall.
Guess that's gonna be a problem, huh?
It will. Also, this is the only body of its type I could procure on such short notice. I'm afraid the other brains will have to make do with their VR environments for now.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right that George gets the only body, though.
Well, it was you who implored I do something for him, no? I assumed prioritizing him was called for.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Doc. It was a pretty stressful moment.
We will have many more brains to watch over before long, I fear. Something I don't entirely mind, I should note. The more research subjects I have, the better. Still, some sort of decision regarding their long-term care shall have to be made soon. It will be some time before we're able to monetize any of this research, after all. As much as I might like to, I can't run this lab on good intentions alone, you know.
Yeah. We need to come up with something, and soon, for all our sakes.
We should be able to mass-produce child bodies in very short order, at least. By the way, I have a helicopter crew on standby to bring the brains back here should the need arise. I, too, will be departing in a little while.
Much appreciated, Doc.
Consider it an angel investment. Who knows what sort of new business I may be soon pioneering here.
So you said it took 3 years to learn how to speak, right? Given enough time, could any AI be taught that too?
I cannot assert that. A neuro-AI is only capable of learning new things, not growing and replenishing its own cells. Thus, each neuro-AI is equipped with a predetermined capacity that cannot be altered. My AI contains 90 billion neurons, more than a human being. A normal LQ-84 model possesses only 1.6 billion.
That's a big difference.
Relatively, yes. I doubt any amount of learning period would enable an LQ-84 to speak. It would be similar to attempting to teach a dog how to converse. A combination of appropriate instruction and an ample neuron count are required to accomplish the feat.
So if someone else made a neuro-AI with the same capacity or more...
Other AIs as conversant as I are a possibility, yes. Robotic pets with neuro-AIs are already on the market. And I understand research and development are underway to create a model capable of conversation. Do not be surprised if such a pet becomes available before too long.
If that becomes commonplace, hard to imagine.
Is it? The human race has willingly embraced all of its other inventions so far. Steam engines, electricity, the internet, cyborgs. Perhaps the day will come when conversing with AIs, too, is considered perfectly normal.
Maybe. As normal as being a cyborg is now, at least.
The most significant challenge would be in crafting the appropriate training regimen. The only way to establish an effective learning system is through sheer trial and error. And it will take even more time to virtualize and optimize that system for mass production. One could say my own existence is due in no small part to simple luck. Of course, I was a failure as a weapon as well.
Failure or not, you're better off than an AI that knows nothing but how to fight.
I am pleased to hear you say that.
Ah!
compass. Use it to reach the roof. Traveling atop buildings will minimize enemy encounters.
Boris, you got anything for me?
What do you mean?
What do I mean? Intel, advice, help. What we always do over the codec.
Well, yes, but in this case we had no official prep time. We have the map of Denver, but no briefing notes, no intel on enemy capabilities. I wish I could be of more help, but, well, I have nothing to work with. I'm sorry, Raiden.
That's all right. I know you're doing whatever you can.
But what about your robot dog friend? He's taking on scouting duty for you, yes? Why not try contacting him?
So let me get this straight. All law enforcement in Denver's been subcontracted out to World Marshal?
Pretty much. It's part of Colorado's small government initiative. When you're tasked with slashing a state's budget, privatizing the police force starts to make sense. Detroit was kind of the pioneer there. Armstrong spearheaded the idea, of course, back when he was still in the state senate.
No surprise. But the police force isn't all cyborg, is it?
Nah, no way anyone could get funding for that. Most of them are unmodified. New recruits or veterans from the old Denver PD. They handle most of the basic police work, like street patrols and investigations. Most cyborgs are part of the SWAT unit. They're sent out to handle riots, violent crimes, stuff like that.
Makes sense.
They're given separate roles in the force, too. Some specialize entirely in combat, others handle things like hostage negotiations. Some of the combat specialists are ex-US Army, but a lot of them are from overseas, too. A lot of them undergo the cyborg operation just to get a green card.
That kind of thing must go over great with the anti-immigration movement.
You know it. A lot of folks wanted a blanket ban on hiring immigrants for the police force. They get a bad rep for those helmets, too. Can't see their faces. They're required to keep their face guards up if they're not actively on a mission, though. Thing is, we're starting to see a wave of violent cyborg crime across America, you know? The way the police see it, they need more cyborgs on the force to deal with that.
Hope they have enough cyborgs to deal with me.
Raiden? Once you get those brains back, what are we gonna do with them?
I still gotta discuss that with Doc. He's still got the brains from Mexico, but the human rights group wouldn't take them in. It didn't sound like it was going too smoothly.
Yeah, that's what he told me too. I can understand the NGO's position, but these kids, they're completely helpless in all this.
I know. We don't have nearly enough cyborg bodies for all of them. And if we want to give them child-sized bodies, they'd have to be almost entirely custom-made. For now, Doc's sending virtual environment data to their brains, just like their VR training. At least that should help cut down on their stress levels.
Yeah, but that only works up to a point, doesn't it? Doc said he can't simulate realistic human interaction with the tech we have right now. They must be lonely.
And they know lonely. None of them had families. That, or they were abandoned by them. For some of them, the real world might not be a whole lot different.
You
know what my childhood was like. I'd take life in an empty room by myself over that any day.
Raiden.
It's a work in progress for sure. But Doc will work something out. So, Doc, what kind of data can you extract from those left hands anyway?
Oh, all manner of information. But the short list? Energy consumption, damage level, intracranial and blood pressure, blood sugar, other vitals, GPS history, speed and acceleration data, radio and optical readings, recorded computations from the internal expert battle support system.
Doc.
Time-stamped readings of distortion and acceleration gauges whenever the body was impacted. Stress is applied to the CNT muscle fibers in all 4 limbs, as well as any localized breakdowns.
All right, Doc.
Power consumption rates, remaining battery charge, type and amount of weaponry used, codec logs and wavelengths, voice transcripts, encryption methods.
Okay, Doc, okay. Sorry I asked.
As a field of technology, cyborg warfare is still in its infancy, you know. It is my duty as an engineer to collect and analyze as much data as possible for every conceivable situation. The resulting database will help drive future technology, both modifications and advances.
Makes sense. But why the left hand? Why store it all there?
Accessibility. A unit can remove it with its own right hand, or it can be recovered if the unit is damaged. I would advise you not to remove your own holographic storage, however, unless absolutely necessary. To facilitate recording of everything you see, hear, and so on, it is tied directly to your cranial nerves. So, each time the storage is connected or disconnected, your hippocampus is stimulated. This can result in memory loss, flashbacks, and all manner of unpleasant effects.
Yeah, I have some experience with that. It's a little more than unpleasant.
I am setting goal markers on your Soliton radar. Use them to follow me through this area.
Good boy.
I will ignore the condescension and take that as a compliment. You are welcome.
Nice hiding spot. Wonder where he learned that from.
Enemy sighted!
I am setting goal markers on your... Use them. I will...
Doc, what's your status?
I am reviewing the pre-flight checklist now. I have hired contractors to handle shipping the brain units. We should be airborne in just a few minutes.
You sure you can pilot that chopper by yourself?
Right, of course. Need I remind you that we live in the golden age of unmanned flight? Even manned helicopters possess a robust semi-automatic mode. It is simple, really. So simple that I can continue to monitor your status and world marshal security from the pilot seat. I must say, for the world's largest PMC, their security procedures are quite poor. Quite poor. Sadly, I did not have the necessary permissions to override their plans. Nevertheless, the data I did find should prove most useful. So please, do feel free to contact me whenever you like.
Appreciate it, Doc.
Well, it's not every day one has the chance to collect so many brains. Think of the data, the research. Oh, and of course, your personal safety was a concern as well.
I am setting goal markers on your Soliton. I will ignore...
Quick question, Doc.
Yes, right.
Doc, those kids.
Oh, after the chloroform, you mean? No need to be concerned. Thanks to your quick actions, the effects have already dissipated.
Good to hear. Why the hell were they using chloroform? I thought they stopped using it as an anesthetic ages ago.
Correct. Sevoflurane or isoflurane are the preferred inhalation anesthetics today. However, chloroform is still quite useful as an organic solvent. In certain doses, mind you. Otherwise, as that cretin mentioned, it can be a bit dangerous.
It certainly turned out dangerous for him.
Yes. In any case, its properties make it useful for an assortment of applications. The chemical synthesis of medication, for example, or creating the coolant used in modern cryopreservers.
Fascinating.
Indeed. Well, Raiden, wonderful work. Had you waited any longer before breaking the glass, things might not have turned out as well as they did.
So, there's really no legal recourse to stop World Marshal here? We couldn't leak that video of Armstrong or something?
Boris, Kevin, and I talked this over already. Not gonna work. The media would never show it.
I guess not. That's why PMC started advertising so heavily all of a sudden, isn't it? So they could influence the media.
Yeah. PMCs don't have anything to sell to regular people, but that's not what those ads were for. It's a part of the aftermath of the Patriots' plan for manipulating the public. Restricting press access, allowing cross-ownership between media conglomerates. A media empire as iron-fisted as any other dictatorship.
So much for freedom of speech, huh?
Yeah. The Patriots are gone, but their effect still lingers. It's just too good a scheme for the government to get rid of.
Alright, so we can't go to the news. How about uploading it to some video site?
It'd get buried in the noise. People fabricate videos all the time to discredit other groups and companies. But when it's bullshit the public wants to believe, then it spreads like wildfire. If they don't care, it doesn't get noticed, even when it's the truth.
Yeah. I guess videos aren't permissible as evidence in court either. Could the kids testify for us?
The only thing they know for sure is that they were tricked into coming here. I doubt many have even heard the name World Marshal before. No one can prove anything. The money's all been laundered. The courts can't do a thing.
So you're doing it by force instead?
Yeah. I'm not trying to kill any employees, though. Working for a company like this one's a crime, whether you know it or not. But I'm only after two groups here. The guys in charge, and their contractors.
I hear you.
Beyond that, whatever it takes to unplug that VR program permanently.
Right, how's the mechs? No headaches or anything?
No, why do you ask?
You're in a high altitude zone, remember?
Oh, right. The Mile High City. Didn't think I'd have to worry about altitude sickness yet, though. You're checking my stats, right? Oxygen density's only 10% off normal. Body's still in the green.
Yeah, I'm watching. Just remember, it's definitely gonna feel a little different from sea level.
Copy. You know, I didn't realize how big Denver's gotten. It was never exactly small, I know, but it looks like it's really blown up these past few years.
It's a good place to live. The tech sector's booming, people are moving in, and unemployment's low too.
I always figured Colorado's more about military than anything else.
Originally, yeah. Denver, like Colorado in general, is filled with federal agencies and defense contractors.
And NORAD and Peterson Air Force Base are just a short drive away, right? Over in Colorado Springs.
And then there's all the nuclear facilities too.
Right. I remember hearing about the Rocky Flats plant.
Yeah, they manufactured the plutonium triggers that detonate nuclear bombs. It was shut down late last century for illegal pollution offenses. Of course, there's still a ton of military manufacturing activity going on in Colorado.
PMCs too, right?
Yep. PMCs like World Marshal. They've been on a buying frenzy, gobbling up a whole bunch of smaller outfits. That growth is what's enabled them to expand into the public sector. Their work in private policing has really boosted their profile.
I'm not necessarily against small government, but when you mix the public authority with private firms...
It never works out, yeah. This is probably obvious, but this police force is basically a full-on army. Don't go easy on them.
Don't intend to. Boris, you got anything for me?
What do you...
What do I mean? Intel,
Well, yes, we have the map of Denver, but no I wish I...
That's all right.
But what he's taking up... Why not the...
Enemy sighted!
Boris, you got anything for me? What do I mean?
We can, but he's why not? Good, Raiden, very good. You must aid civilians, Raiden. It is not part of mission, but Maverick is still one of the good guys, yeah?
The civvy needs your help. Hurry, Raiden.
Come on, save him! He's gonna get killed!
Looks like Desperado brought some sliders.
It does indeed. As you know, sliders are more than a simple unmanned combat aerial vehicle. They are especially effective when used in tandem with cyborgs.
So I hear. Just strap it to your back and you've got yourself a jetpack.
In terms of specs, it is equipped with 2 small engines, turbojets modified from anti-ship missiles. These are capable of putting out 3 kilonewtons of propelling force. Its high aspect ratio wings are built with artificial muscles. Their bending functionality enables both helicopter-caliber hovering and a lengthy flight duration when fully deployed.
But what about offense? They can't pack much heat.
Not alone, no. The sliders were built from the ground up in a network-centric system. As a result, each individual craft has limited combat ability. Toughness was sacrificed for its compact size, which limits its ability to move at high speeds or perform high-G maneuvers. Flight range and time are strictly limited. Not being a fixed-shape craft, it has little stealth functionality. As for weaponry, it is restrained to one of 2 options: semi-active laser-guided rockets, or a combination of 30-kilogram class unguided bombs and 5.56mm mounted gun pods.
But I thought it played a major role in SOP, in regional conflicts and asymmetrical warfare.
It did. When all connected in a networked mesh, they enjoy extraordinary situational awareness. Such a group can search a wide range without missing a single millimeter. Not to mention, saturate a hot spot with gunfire from multiple angles.
Snake had trouble with them in Eastern Europe.
But their most attractive feature? How inexpensive they are to manufacture. Unthinkably so, in fact, back in the age of manned fighter jets. It's no surprise PMCs use them so often.
Yeah? Well, they're gonna have to spend a lot more than that to stop me.
I am setting goal markers. Use... I will...
Some things World Marshal does not appreciate.
You're on the company blacklist. We're here to check you off.
Oh, I see. And on the report, I got caught in the crossfire? Just a random casualty, is that it? Yeah, pretty much. All just part of the job. You understand. Fuck you! If you're gonna kill me, then do it! Do it! Ah! Some things World Marshal does not appreciate. I got him! Bullseye! Get off! Oh, God, thank you! Don't let those fuckers get away with this, okay? Thank you so much!
You cannot proceed any further via the rooftops. There is a freight railroad underground. The elevator ahead will take you to it.
Yes, Raiden. Хорошо. That's one less death today. Now, on with the mission.
Ooh, nice work, buddy. In the nick of time, huh?
Raiden, did you...
Yeah. Good thing I got here when I did.
I'm, impressed, Raiden.
Thanks. Now if you'll excuse me.
Huh? Oh, right. The mission.
So, autonomous gears against remote gears? Which one do you think's got the advantage?
Well, you cannot make a valid comparison between the two so easily, you know. You must take the relative specs of the models into account, the skills of the operator, and so forth.
I suppose so.
All things considered, remote gears do indeed hold the advantage, in most cases at least.
And I get the feeling you're gonna tell me why.
This type of remote weapon can be traced back to Germany, you know. World War II. The Wehrmacht employed a remote-controlled mine called Goliath, with tank-like treads on either side. The operator could send it over 600 meters into enemy territory before detonating its payload.
Germans certainly did have a knack for weird new weapons back then.
If I may continue. Now, UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, began to proliferate in the 90s. They were equipped with cameras, enabling the operator with a much greater degree of control. But it took 20 more years before autonomous craft would gain wide acceptance.
Makes sense. The AI wasn't good enough until just recently, right?
Correct. Target location and course correction were not a problem, of course. GPS solved all that. But target selection or base defense, these types of objectives require extremely complex AI routines. It was only with the advent of optical neuro-AI that such a thing became possible. Neuro-AI was developed using a completely new paradigm in computer architecture, you know. Not the von Neumann model, which served as a standard up till that point. Neuro-AI was modeled after the human brain. It can learn and mature entirely on its own.
Like the Patriot's AI, just on a smaller scale.
Indeed. It cannot copy or rewrite data, but the structure does solve several problems quite well. The frame and symbol grounding problems, to be exact. It gives the AI flexibility within unknown states. But such a system still lags behind the average human in speedy decision-making. Also, as they cannot converse, they cannot demand or accept surrender, or avoid such unnecessary conflict. And as you know, such tactics are often the most effective strategy for victory. So yes, the fact that they do not require a human soldier as a pilot is an advantage, purely in terms of resources. But in a hypothetical battle between two identical UGs, the remote gear tops the autonomous model, no question.
Got it. I'll keep that in mind.
Of course, even the remote gears have some AI these days, to handle balance and other minor details. So, the line between remote and autonomous UGs grows less and less distinct every day.
Whoa, the elevator's offline.
Surely you realize how to proceed. You are familiar with Newton's law of universal gravitation? Count the wire, and the car will fall.
This must be the railroad.
It would appear so. Likely part of Denver's old system. This city was a major transport hub in the early years of freight trains. This particular line appears to have been abandoned some time ago. It was originally constructed to transport supplies to an underground factory. But now, it seems even the electrical system is no longer functioning.
Yeah, it's pitch black in here.
As a cyborg, I trust this is not a serious concern.
You got anything? What do I mean?
But why not?
All right.
Nothing is brighter, Raiden, but you are now more capable of seeing everything.
How's it going with the brain units, Doc? Any problems?
Oh, they could not be better. They're being kept at exactly 36 degrees Celsius with a steady, uninterrupted supply of oxygen and glucose. Synchronizing them with our equipment posed some difficulty, but everything's perfectly stable now.
That's good to hear. What kind of VR are they getting?
I prepared very comfortable rooms for each and every one. It's not quite Schloss Neuschwanstein, but each one enjoys the equivalent of a 4-star hotel suite. Every room includes an attached pool and an extensive library of on-demand video programming. 3 meals are delivered daily, and while we're only able to do so much vis-a-vis taste sensation, it should satisfy the psychological need for food, at least.
Doesn't sound too bad. I wouldn't mind a little VR training like that for a change.
Oh, be my guest. I'd like to experience it for myself, you know, but for now it is available to cyborgs only. Exciting work is being done in the realm of invasive brain-machine interfaces, but there simply isn't much demand for it at the moment.
I guess not too many folks are willing to stick electrodes in their brains just for a taste of VR.
Perhaps, but the sense of reality is considerably improved over nanomachine-based non-invasive methods. If prices were kept low enough, I imagine the video game industry at least would clamor for it.
Who coded the virtual hotel?
An assistant. He used to write VR programs for UGs, but now specializes in cyborg software. A bit of a niche right now, yes, but when brain-machine interfaces take off, it will be a big business. The children's accommodation is a reworked version of the original beta software he built. The room's 3D models are all made using free libraries. It couldn't have been easier.
I wish everyone loved their work as much as you do, Doc. They don't go stir-crazy, though? Cooped up in their rooms?
There's little I can do about that. Creating an open world would take orders of magnitude more resources.
What about communication?
Another weak spot, yes. The NPCs available to us are all for military training purposes. It will be some time until we see VR characters capable of convincingly human interaction. Sadly, we're also not yet able to connect multiple brains to a single VR space. My assistants are operating virtual agents to give them a bare minimum of mental care. But our team is limited in size, and none of us are medical professionals, you know.
They can't stay in there forever. So there's one more of the winds, right? Besides Sundowner and Mistral.
Yeah, Monsoon. That is,
You can skip the part about the name. I know monsoons are seasonal winds in Asia.
The word actually refers to seasonal winds anywhere, but yeah, it's usually used to describe the winds that bring Southeast Asia most of its rain.
Safe to assume he's Asian then, right?
Yep. His roots are with a Cambodian organized crime syndicate. Not ex-military for a change. He's fluent in Khmer, Chinese, and English. Rumored to have been involved in drug and human trafficking.
So what's he doing with a PMC?
Apparently, he converted to a cyborg body after being wounded in a gang shootout. I don't know the full story, though. Maybe he just decided PMC works better than the mob. The two worlds are closer than you might think. Boris has got a lot of ex-military buds that now work for the Russian mafia.
I guess either profession guarantees plenty of excitement, if that's your thing.
Monsoon's no ordinary street thug, though. That much is clear from his record. And he was a master with the Psy even before he became a cyborg.
You think he's in Denver?
Probably, given that Desperado and World Marshal are basically one and the same. Careful down there.
Raiden, can I ask you something?
Sure. What is it?
Just wondering, why'd you join Maverick in the first place?
Well, Boris and I go way back. Our first time working together was rescuing Sunny. That's Colonel Gerlukovich's granddaughter. He and Boris were good friends back in the USSR.
Right. The Patriots were holding her?
Yeah. I was mainly working with the PLA, but Boris was a huge help. His Russian military connections paid off big time. All his covert op experience, too. He wasn't working pro bono, of course, but he went above and beyond the call. The Patriots were a threat to everyone, not just America. He got that.
And when Paradise Lost disbanded, he formed a new outfit and got them all work.
Most of them, anyway, including me.
Did you ever consider another line of work? Something non-military, I mean?
I'm a cyborg, Courtney. What am I gonna do? Drive an ice cream truck? I can pass as normal from a distance, but up close, anyone can tell it's artificial skin. Good jobs aren't easy to come by these days, even for non-cyborgs. And I've got a family to feed. Besides, I've been fighting my whole life. It's just who I am.
Sorry, I didn't mean to pry.
It's fine, Courtney. No worries.